The pending changes to U.S. immigration policy. Pandemic-era Title 42 immigration restrictions are set to expire at midnight. Now we're learning more about the new rules for asylum seekers. ABC News' Matt Rivers joins us now from Ciudad Juarez, Mexico, with more, along with Jay O'Brien on Capitol Hill. Matt, you've spoken with immigrants waiting to be processed at the border. So what are they saying about why they're coming now?
Well, everybody has their own story, and I think some groups of migrants, you've got some people who wanted to come before Title 42, some who are going to wait until after it's over, a few hours from now, and then you've got some people who have simply just been walking for months, are totally unaware of all of these policies, and just cross because that's the momentum of their trip. They arrive and then they cross. That's just how it works. But in terms of those first two groups, on the one hand, people who wanted to get across before Title 42 ends, that's for one specific reason, and that's because if you are deported under Title 42 regulations, you can immediately come back and try again. Generally, you're deported back here to Mexico, and there's no legal consequence if you come and try again. If you come after Title 42, starting at midnight tonight, moving into the future, and you try and claim asylum, and you are denied, you get deported back to your home country in most cases, and then there's a ban on re-entry for at least 5 years. If you try and violate that ban, there's criminal penalties that apply. So people know that, and that's why they're trying to come in before Title 42. If you try and come in later, people who are waiting, you can claim asylum. That is something that was more difficult to do under Title 42, but under these new regulations, it's going to be a little bit harder to claim asylum, slightly more risky. If you, like I just said, if you don't get approved, then you might see yourself deported without a chance to come back. So there's varying reasons why people are choosing to cross or to wait, and each one is pretty much just as valid as the next.
Jay, what's the reaction on Capitol Hill to the end of Title 42 and these preparations in place?
Well, we've heard from a number of Republicans who, as early as last week, called on the administration to put Title 42 back into place. But as you know, as Matt knows, Title 42 is a health policy that put into place because of the COVID pandemic. And the administration's point of view is because the pandemic health emergency is over, therefore Title 42 needs to end. So that proposal from Republicans not getting any traction. The thing we've heard repeatedly from the Biden administration is that all of this is a larger sign that the broader U.S. immigration system is broken and there needs to be a congressional fix. But the question becomes, what kind of appetite is there in this building for immigration reform? We do know that there is a bill on border security that House Republicans will bring to a vote today, but if that passes in the House, it is likely dead on arrival in a Democratic-controlled Senate. The question hanging over all of this is, what is the legislative math like for immigration reform? You need 60 votes, bipartisan support to pass anything in the Senate, and there hasn't been any signs of momentum really in either chamber on reforming the immigration process. And that's what's putting the administration in a position where previously it needed to rely on things like Title 42 and now it needs to rely on immigration rules like Title 8, Diane.
So, Matt, how are border communities reacting to the end of Title 42?
Well, I can tell you they're not going to be thrilled with what Jay just said, because what they're hoping for is action on the federal level. You get people right across the border there in El Paso or in other communities like Brownsville or even in San Ysidro over in California who are screaming at the top of their lungs saying, we are not equipped to deal with immigration. Immigration is a federal issue, and yet it is falling into the laps of local officials who are simply not prepared, not well resourced enough to deal with it. There's no question, no matter your political views on migration, all these immigration issues, the burden that is falling on these local communities can be quite intense, both on a financial level and also just on a personnel level. So that's what you're hearing in border communities, is consistent frustration that issues that should be a federal problem often end up being felt on a local level.
Jay, what are lawmakers and officials watching for in the next few hours?
Yeah, I and other reporters asked a few Republican members of the House what they were looking at when it comes to the ending of Title 42. And they said they're looking to see what the situation looks like at the U.S.-Mexico border. Is there a surge? Are resources strained? And how does that play out? And they said they believe there is a chance, it's a chance, that that creates an impetus, at least within Republicans in the House and Senate, for some kind of immigration reform. That said, we've also heard from Democrats who say they believe it's time to reform the immigration system. Dick Durbin, the chair of the Senate Judiciary Committee, said it this week as well. The question becomes, is there anything either party can agree on to advance some kind of immigration reform? And that is very much unclear, Diane.
Matt Rivers, Jay O'Brien, thank you both.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.